morning and welcome to Rocket with Chief. I'm your host, Daniel Robus, and today we are joined by Sean Sandiford from Wanna Do Events. You may know that I love sports, especially when things get hard. I get to see amazing places, meet wonderful people, and push myself beyond what most people think is normal. Usually I participate in organized events. It's easier to stay alive that way, and it's fun to mingle with like-minded people. Events like the Backyard Ultra, Sea to Tower, Cradle Cracker, they've become household names, certainly in my household. But behind these events is always a dedicated team of people that give their time, give their sweat, and give their everything to make it happen. So I wanted to see what it took to operate successful series of events year in, year out, and events that are not in a convention center or under a roof, that are open to the world, open to the elements, open to just the deities of good weather or bad weather to play their part. Enter stage left, Sean. According to LinkedIn, he's a highly successful transition and transformation consultant with over 8 years experience in transitioning complex IT projects into operations, analytic, creative-minded, enabling the creation of a business. And then you stepped out of IT into events. You've been part of lots of companies, but two specifically from grassroots level, Sean. How did a good IT guy end up running events like this?
Hey, Daniel. So that is quite a roundabout story, to how we got there, or how I got there. I studied down in PE, and I did my honors in business management and financial management. And I came up to Joburg to help my brother with one of his businesses. So that's where I got introduced into the world of IT, because he was really IT focused. Okay. And then my first real job went into, I was at Microsoft as a sales account support manager. So we would phone up all the corporates to say, hey guys, I believe you have Windows or, whatever of the programs, and you got 100 users, licenses, but you actually have 200 people working for you. Let's send a technician to just come along and have a look and see what we can do. So that was my introductory to, big businesses and actually meeting a whole bunch of top players in the world of IT, which was quite fun because I really enjoyed that interaction with the guys to see how we could actually fix their businesses. And that helped, my honors degree kind of helped with that, is how we can actually improve different businesses. So I was at Microsoft for a couple of years, and then I moved over to Accenture, the consulting company. And that is where we did the transformation and outsourcing of all products. So basically what we did was we'd go to a different client and say, all right, or the client would either come to us or whoever, they would then come along and say, we have these different applications or this software, and we want to outsource it. So we would go in with a team and actually say, all right, show us all your different applications, how they interact with each other, what you use to run it. And then we would take their knowledge and train up our team to run that for them. And then those were Indian guys. And so the Indian guys would come out, we'd set up this whole knowledge transfer, the operation model, and then send them back to India once the whole thing was completed. And so that's another thing that we got stuck into, like on the IT point of side.
Yeah, that must have been interesting times. That was really quite early in the outsourcing, and you were doing business process outsourcing and application outsourcing then.
Yes, yeah. So business processes, application outsourcing, also infrastructure. So anything that the client needed to just reduce their costs and also improve their business, that's where we got stuck into. So everything was really, really new. So quite often we'd have to go into the market and look for people who have different skills in different programs, and then bring them into Accenture, and then just train them up as well what we do, and then get them on board.
That must have been a fascinating foundation into business, because you've now moved from a mega corporate like Microsoft into Accenture, which is looking at the consulting and the back office kind of working. You took your jump to do your own thing a couple of years ago. What made you take that jump? If you were successful in the corporate environment, were the golden handcuffs not quite compelling?
Golden handcuffs were great. The free coffee was awesome, and the stationery was brilliant. And I went to DD after Accenture, and Dimension Data was it's a really innovative company as well. And we're in group head office, so it's quite nice. We would actually create things and give it to the rest of the branches out there. But then DD went through a bit of a bad time, and they decided to do a big retrenchment program. And at that stage, I've always been interested in events and getting people busy and outdoorsy and just doing different things. And I had one or two ideas that I had actually stuck up onto one of my boards or desk partitions. And they came around with all the retrenchment packages, and I looked at it a bit, and I actually went to my boss at that stage. I said, what about this idea? What do you think about this thing? And he said, it looks really, really interesting. And then I chatted to the senior manager, and I said, how big is a team that you're going to need? And she said it's going to be quite a small one. So I thought, well, I spoke to my boss again. I said, Grant, why don't we actually take our retrenchment package and create something fun? Let's get out there, be outdoors, and do something completely different, and actually focus on it properly. And that was a big step, So we got the retrenchment packages, and off we went, and we started the Wanna Do Events company, and then we bought these giant inflatable obstacles from China. So these things were massive. They were 30 meters long, 10 meters tall. They weighed 1,000 kilos. And we had 7 of these things. And it was huge. It was a 5K run with these inflatable obstacles around the route. But these are massive. And it was really good. Always outdoors.
People must have thought, who are you trying to kill us on these things?
Yeah. So we change the thing up a lot of times, and sometimes we put water on them, we put foam in them, and people are slipping and sliding. But the adults, it was built for adults, and it's quite interesting to convince adults to come and jump on a jumping castle.
Yeah.
But when you see this thing, we waited for the last minute before everybody went off, and we actually blew these things up then. Yeah. And then once these people started seeing this thing getting bigger and bigger and bigger, then you just saw the cameras come out, the selfies come out, people getting all excited. So It was loads of fun. It was really good.
What was harder than you anticipated starting your own thing?
The hard thing is, over the couple of years with events, I'm a very visual person, so I'm able to picture the event visually. So I can stand somewhere and actually see everything and where it's all going to go and how it's going to work, all the way to who has what. If you need a pen during the Nice Extreme, if you need a pen with a guy that's 200 kilometers away, I can tell you who has it and what color that pen is. Yeah. So events are actually easy to set up in a way. The hard thing is convincing people to actually come and do it. That's a difficult thing, to actually say, hey guys, we got this great event, come along and do it. And to build that's the hard thing in the end.
And what is the secret in the sauce to get people there? I mean, you're building a reputation for successful events, so that must be a little bit easier. What was that breakthrough? What do you think tilted it that gets people there?
I haven't really got to that breakthrough yet.
Okay. So it's a constant, hey? You're fighting for people's attention to take them away from Facebook and online into an event.
Yes. So you're trying to get them outdoors, trying to get them to do something. And South Africans, especially Joburg, people who live in Joburg or Gauteng, they're dying for something to do. It's work, go to the pub, go home. But they're always looking for things to get up there and actually get involved with. So you create these things, and that because there's so many events out there, people do one event and then they'll move to the next one and the next one, and they enjoy the freshness of it. So you always have to keep finding new events, finding different ways to keep people entertained, adding things on to the event.
And there's such an important point there about getting people. I just made a note. Folks are dying for things to do, yet when you offer them, then you get quite small numbers. Why do you think that is? What is it about our culture that makes people slow to go to events? Or is that a misconception? Are you seeing people are there and are keen?
I think people are always interested in getting events, but it's also trying to find the right platform or how to get that information to them. Like I've had really good friends who turn around to me and they say they've never seen an advert for this specific race or that race.
Okay.
But on the flip side, I'm putting out tons of posts, spending money on advertising, and you don't understand where this miscommunication is. So that's the one thing. It's the marketing that I don't quite know. There's that funny saying where they say half of marketing works, but nobody knows which half it is. So that's what we don't know. And if we knew that, if somebody actually knew that, then it would help a lot. So that's the one part. The other thing is, I think events used to, before our whole COVID, before COVID hit, people used to enter events quite a while before the race. Always, knew they really wanted to do this and actually be interested, and they would sign up. We did see quite a big increase in entries a week before the race, so we always knew we would get a fair amount then. So things have changed quite a bit, over the time. Like Joburg people, they really want to do things, so they're always looking for stuff. However, if you go down to the coast, that's another struggle. There's actually been a couple of events where we've had to cancel. Well, I've had to cancel because you don't know. People enter 2 days before the race, and there's so much that goes into these things. It takes months and months to plan it. So it's this funny balance to actually persuade them to enter early, but then also how do you get that information out to them, through marketing, and which channels work and which don't.
So Sean, you mentioned marketing and you mentioned the marketing mix of what you're going in. What technology do you make use of to get the event out there, and what is kind of a countdown? What's working for you?
That's something else. TikTok, I haven't managed to fathom out yet, so I haven't been able to go into that. Most of my marketing is through Facebook marketing, and or doing all the posts, doing the ad managers and things like that. But also simple mailing lists. So every now and then I send out this is what's coming up, this is what's happening, this is what's happened in the past. Come and do that. And then also word of mouth, and then just the simple things, reaching out to clubs or reaching out to different people to say, I have this coming up, would you mind sharing it?
So email is a big thing for you, and we've spoken about Facebook on there. Do you making use of WhatsApp as well from a chat perspective?
So WhatsApp, what we do, I use it for certain events, the more personal events. So for example, I do the Nice Extreme Triathlon, and it's a really big race. And when somebody registers for the race, we put them onto a WhatsApp group, an athlete WhatsApp group, where it gives them the chance to discuss amongst each other, how they talk about their nerves, what they're afraid of, ask for any tips or guidance, and then I'll answer any big questions. So we use WhatsApp.
That's brilliant.
In that way. And then just Instagram, I find Instagram is more picture orientated. So Facebook's where the information is, which leads to a web page, but then also Instagram is the cool stuff. You see all the photos and the excitement, and then that feeds into Facebook and so forth. So I try to use Instagram as well.
You spoke now about Neisner Extreme. Just give us a 30-second elevator pitch on what that is, because I want to ask you, just from idea to execution, how do we get there? So what is Neisner Extreme?
So Neisner Extreme is Africa's toughest triathlon, and it's a point-to-point triathlon where your standard triathlon starts and finishes in the same area. Neisner Extreme starts in one spot and finishes 227 kilometers away in a different area. So it's a 5-kilometer swim in the Neisner Estuary. It's 174 kilometer cycle, along the garden route, so along the coastal areas. Then you go through some valleys with trees overgrowing the road, or covering the road, it's really stunning. And then you go the Otanikwa Pass, so over the mountain ranges into the Karoo. So you're going through like semi-desert, semi-arid regions, which is it's a huge change. Yeah. And then after that, it's a 50-kilometer run. It's all on gravel road, so it's massive. And the elevation gain is about 4,000 meters, so it's really hard. But we do have a shorter version if anybody's interested in that one as well. So that's a 2.5K swim.
Yeah, if you're not completely mad, there is a half one that you can do with your family as well. 2.5K swim, 90K bike.
Swim, 100K cycle,
Okay.
and a 30-kilometer run.
Okay.
And so it's not as extreme, but it's also really hard. It's 2,000 meters of elevation, and it's going to push you from start to finish. So it's not for, if you can't do the extreme stream, at least you can get an introductory to what these races are all about.
So now you've got this idea. How do you map the route that can make sense for an event like this? Do you use geospatial stuff, or do you go and drive it still? How do you pull this thing together before you go and say to a sponsor, surprise, we've got this new idea for an extreme triathlon?
Yeah, so how it really works is you need to basically have your start finish, where you're going to go and where you're going to finish. And the nice extreme was interesting because the route, normal extreme triathlons are 42Ks, the same as Ironman distance, 42Ks. However, when we marked the route and we got to 42Ks, there was nothing around us. There was absolutely zero. So we kept driving, and then there was this hilltop with a tea garden. I was like, fantastic, let's finish here. And we're like, oh, it's 50Ks. That's fine. I'm sure people can run it. So that's how it works. It's basically on your territory and where you are. So you say, let's have a look at it from we use Google Earth and Google Maps, and we have a look at it, talk to a lot of the locals to say, what about this? What about that? And you send friends out, say, would you mind just going to go ride this? We'll go have a look at this or run this. Okay. And then you go down and you also do the same thing. So you swim it and ride it, you do different sections, you drive the whole thing to actually see what it's like. But basically, look at Google Earth, you plot distances, and then you take it from there. So same thing with the cycle. The normal Ironman distance for cycle or extreme races are 188Ks. And when I plotted it, I was like, perfect, I know where it's going to finish. We got to 174, and then there was dirt road. And the tar road stopped, went to dirt road. And you can't put road bikes or TT bikes on a dirt road.
No.
So we thought, okay, well, this is where we stop, and this is where we change. And that's how it works. You work with what you get.
That is amazing. That sounds like a lot of fun to put events together. You've got other events which are in the heart of the city of suburbia, like the Cinderella Run. I imagine the process is the same. Where you?
Yeah, so it's a different thing. So you're looking at different target audiences, and then you try to plot around that. So the Cinderella Run is an idea where we take you on a journey, and it's going to be a short one. So it's just a 5 to 8K run. We got the two options, 5 to 8. We're trying to figure out the right distances, but it's supposed to be a magical experience. So that then you have to look at your route again. So we want to take you around buildings that are pretty at night, and areas that look really safe, are safe, but also look really spectacular. So the point of my races is creating experiences and also enjoy where you are. Okay. So Cinderella Run something similar. So we plot the route and you go drive it at night because it's going to be a night run. So you look around and you say, well, this is really pretty. And you come around the corner and you see another building that's even better. And you're like, oh, we can change the route and let's go this way.
And make it 8 to 15 instead. Next thing you look down and the guys are running a marathon in the middle of the night. I'm sure you've got ideas for a night marathon. I don't even want to hear it yet. Do you get inspiration from overseas? Where does your inspiration come from, Sean?
So with the Nice Extreme, I got that from overseas. I used to do local triathlons here. Then I did an extreme race in Austria. And then when I was doing that through all my sweat and tears, I thought, geez, I can actually do this in South Africa. And then I spoke to the organizers there and I said, would you mind guiding me? And they're like, yes, of course. Jawohl, we can help you, as the Austrians are. So I set it up, and they even came out for the first race, and they helped set it up, which was fantastic. And Austrians are, they're very, you think that the Swiss are pedantic, the Austrians aren't far behind. And we would put up one banner flag, and then they would stand there for about 5 minutes, and then they say, okay, next one over there. And then that was it. And so I got the inspiration from that, from them. But other races, it's just, you look around, and I'm not too sure, just daft things come to my head. And you just talk to friends, and a friend would say, what about this? What have you thought of that? So you get some ideas from that. However, the C2 Tower, which is a really, really nice race.
Yes, tell me about it. Yes, I have done Sea to Tower. It caught me a little bit by surprise. It was what a joy. I can't wait to do it again.
So tell me your experience about it, and then we'll tell you how that came about. So what did you enjoy?
Okay, let me change the view that we've got. So folks, the Sea to Tower that I did was a 50K run in December. So at the end of the season for most of us, and we ran from the waterfront in Knysna out through indigenous forests in this protected area in beautiful, beautiful Knysna, running away from sea level. So climbing your whole race with lots of ups and downs, and then ended at a fire station guard tower where you get this panoramic view of the forests of the plantation forests around Knysna. With some of the best water points ever. These volunteers were outstanding, and it was a whole Christmas vibe. I hope that was what I was meant to get, because I also got about 6 or 7 beers in afterwards. So it was it was a great day.
Yeah. So Sea to Tower, it's I'm glad you mentioned the volunteers as well. So Sea to Tower, how that came about is with the nice extreme. There's this one checkpoint at Buffalo's Neck, and if you were at the tower, you would have seen Buffalo's Neck just in the distance. So we were all sitting there on the grass waiting for the first triathlete to come around the corner, and just lying on the grass looking around. And then I saw this tower in the distance, and I was like, oh, I wonder if you can actually go there. And then near us was the forest manager, and his name was Tom. And I said, hey, Tom, what is that over there? And he said, oh, that's a fire tower, and it's a watchtower. And I was like, can we run there? He said, yeah, I think you can.
Oh, my word.
And then that's how the idea came about. It came about at another race. So, you sit there and you look around at other mountains and other bits, and you're like, oh, I wonder if we can actually go there. I wonder if we can do something here. And that's how the Sea to Tower came about.
Wow.
And, and it's a really, like you said, it's a really good route. It's all the way from Thiesen's Island lies all the way to the tower in the distance. And volunteers with all my races, it's pretty much friends and family. So the people that you encountered were mom and dad's friends, the Rotary and some of the Rotary guys, and just a bunch of people in Nice who really want to just get out and have some fun. So it's quite a nice feeling, family feeling with our events as well.
I can attest to that. I can attest to that. There's always a bit of a family feeling, and people are always. I said I had written in the intro that you're the guy that no matter what time of day or night we finish, you've got the big smile. And it's really, you seem to live the event with us, but you're still smiling through it. Let's talk around business. You are your own boss now. And do you have a mentor or industry role model?
So, I don't really have a mentor or anybody to chat, much about. Mentors, really, I have got a few friends who I actually just bounce ideas off, or if I have like a bit of an issue, I just I'd open up to them, like past participants as well. You built up a bit of a friendship with them, and you say, I'm really struggling, can I please just vent? And then they're like, yeah, of course, and you're like, blah 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 blah. But so I don't really have like an actual mentor or anything. And so you also look at other event organizers, and you see what they do and what drives them. And something that I've always done is somebody wants to be there. If somebody's working in corporate or somebody's doing their own thing, and they have an idea, I always try to help them. I try to push them and say, give it a go. Why not? What's stopping you? Get out there, try it. What do you need? If I can't help you, I might know somebody who can guide you or help you put you in the right direction. So I think I get ideas from other people or inspiration from other people and see the excitement that they do. So that feeds into me, and then I can just pass it on to other people as well.
Oh, that's
so not
lovely.
a mentor in particular, but
it's a community. It's a community kind of feel. You've got very associated brands that are at your events. They health and wellness, they athlete performance enhancing. And do you see that community is growing within South Africa? And how does technology play a role in keeping you all together?
So with all events, we try to get the right partners involved. Sponsorship is actually impossible to come by. So you really need to talk to the right people to come along and get involved with the race. It's a two-way thing. If somebody comes to a race and they want to put something up, it has to be beneficial. It has to be worth their time. And whoever takes part in the race, it could be a swim, cycle run, it could be a singles run or a zombie run. It all has to tie up into what they're offering. So we try to get that information to participants and say, listen, guys, try to do this, but you also have this option to help improve, your lifestyle. Come for a free massage. However, don't just do it once off. These girls can actually help out with any injury. So, continue to give them a donation and stay in touch with them. Or we chat with the apparel brand or Decathlon. So they're on board now. So the nice thing that they're doing is they're recycling a lot of their products and also making shirts and clothing out of plastic. So it's more renewable. So it's quite nice to bring them on board as well. And we also go in litter-free races. So there's no cups and things at water stations. People need to bring their own water bladders. So we're trying to help things out that way. So there is a big, more conscious way of people looking at the environment, looking at, keeping fit, keeping healthy, also looking after themselves, making sure they eat well, making sure that they have the right clothing, and also being, more environmental conscious of everything that they do, all the way to eating a burger at the end, what is on it and stuff like that. So on the technology side, so quite a good example was that Decathlon thing of how they're trying to make things more renewable and better, which is fantastic. I know 32GI, the nutrition guys who get involved a lot, they spend quite a bit on technologies or on the right formulas. So they have a lot of things in the background to actually make sure that they are able to provide the right nutrition for various things. So that's how it all ties in, really.
Sean, if there are 2 or 3 industries you think that are missing the opportunity to participate in getting people out there, who would they be, and what would you say they could be doing in outdoor events and industries like this?
Gee whiz, that's a tough one. I think the industries that need to get out there. I'm not too sure, actually. I think everybody. I think a lot of industries or a lot of. I'm not too sure, actually, how to answer that.
I love questions like that. So you're saying that. So let me rephrase it. When you look at a company and their manifesto out there is to have healthy employees and to be a good citizen, corporate citizen, do you think they're participating enough about prevention rather than cure? And are they encouraging people to get out and run and be healthy and see our green spaces and protect our green spaces? Because that's essentially what you're doing. You are getting people to use spaces in different ways and therefore protect them.
Yeah. So with that, I think that a lot of companies have gotten involved with our races, and when you talk to the people who are entering or the main contact person, they want to get their employees out. They want to build that the team building, make sure there's more cohesiveness amongst the team. So they were always, they come along to our races and say, what about this race? What about that race? And so we do have a lot of companies coming along now and doing big group entries, and then they also say, can we put up a gazebo, or can we do this, or can we bring picnic baskets or food? And I'm like, yes, of course. Bring what you need if it's going to help you guys with your business. I find a lot of companies are actually trying to do that. They're trying to find new ways to get people out and about and do something interesting. A similar thing, if you're not active, we're trying to organize Africa's biggest quiz night. So that's going to be a nice interactive thing with companies and tables. And
so it doesn't have to be sweat, blood, and tears. It can actually, okay, so your events aren't all out in the open. You do have some under roof events as well.
Yeah. So it changes. So anybody who comes along and also we introduce him, again, what I said right in the beginning or near the beginning, so we try to look for great venues and spectacular views and that experience. So we do another race where we actually take you through a dynamite factory, which was opened by Paul Kruger. So we ran around there a couple of years ago, and then it was so overgrown. And I went back to the venue and I said, let's just go for a walk over there. And this whole place, it's a village that's just overgrown. And there's these bunkers and tunnels and domes and blast areas. And we said, let's please cut a route through here for one of my races. So people come along and they do that. And it's quite a nice thing, because companies or some groups come along and they say they want to be the participant, but others want to be part of the crew.
Yeah.
And then there's this fun interaction between the two, as you go. So you do find a lot of companies trying to get out there, people wanting to be more healthier.
That's stunning. I really like that. I think that, because I'm quite active as well, I just think it adds so much to my life. And if you can go to an event where it's just plug and play, it makes it that much easier to get to these spaces and these places. Sean, if you wrote a book about your experience of one of the events in the last couple of years, bringing COVID into it, and the experience of surviving through that as a business owner, what would the title be, and what would the first chapter be?
What would the title be? It's like, oh my gosh, what have I done? Pretty much. And then the title would be, that'll be the title. I think the first chapter would be something about how do we push boundaries? How do we, get people out of their comfort zone? I'm one of those guys who, if we go for a hike with a bunch of friends, I'm one of those chaps who get to a certain point, and the turn point, you're like, what's around that corner? Let's just go and have a look what's around that corner, or look at that waterfall in the distance. Let's just maybe go and have a look there. Or we go down to the coast. I'm like, it looks fun if we go scuba diving over there, amongst the sharks. I'm one of those chaps who push people. So I think the whole first chapter would be find your limits and let somebody else push it for you. Have that boundary, but have a flexible boundary, and let somebody else, and be open to come along and actually giving something else a go. Like a simple conversation or simple thing that happened. Every now and then, my other half and her best friend do the park run, and I run with them. And then they always, 33 minutes, something like that. And the one time I took them for a run, I said, come on, let's try get under 30. So I would run along and push them a bit. Come on, girls, come on, let's go. And then I just got like an earload the whole way. Wah, stop pushing us. Wah, the whole way. Moaning, complaining, like, you pushing us. They said, wrong. And when we finished, they had done 28 minutes. And they were high-fiving each other, going, woo, well done, girl, well done, girl.
Yeah,
I've been up 20 times and despite that, So so I like doing that. I like pushing people. So the first chapter would be about, be open to things and get going. And and COVID really hammered the event industry quite difficult. So again, what we said earlier is like South Africans used to enter races earlier, but now with COVID, so many races were cancelled on the last minute. And I get frustrated on my side when you see other events just cancel a race. And you're like, guys, you just make an effort, try to do something different, go out there and see what else you could do. Because I really don't cancel my race. I try my best not to. And if we do, it's because, the whole earth has just sunk underground or something. But and then I was lucky enough with COVID, though, the events have been quite small and we were able to adapt very quickly to suit the rules. And with all the different waves, I somehow planned all my races, all the big races between all the different waves. So it would open up, I'll be able to have a big race, and then we'll close up afterwards. So I managed to go through it, which is quite nice because I feel from our side, we've become one of those event companies who, these guys are still going. It's nice to, we don't give up. Like if you look at the airline industry, I'm not going to put out names, but there's one company who has flown through the whole of, the COVID, the pandemic, where others have decided to just, ground their flights for a couple of months and they open up again, then they ground their flights. So you kind of stick with the guys who are consistent, who are actually making the effort and really trying to, even if they have 2 people on board, they're still doing it. So that's one thing that's COVID's actually taught us, is just keep going. And and hopefully
Resilience. Resilience. Say, Sean, you seem to be resilient and to go with the flow to get things done for your experience. That as a business leader, what would you say is the piece of advice you could give to a young person who's starting their own business?
So one thing is, don't give up, and realize who you're doing it for. Just don't give up. Keep going. If you make a mistake, learn from your mistake. Admit you've made the mistake and tell people about it as soon as you can. And just say, sorry guys, this is what went wrong, or this is what we will do in the future. There's a lot of, make sure there's lots of resilience, make sure there's lots of communication between yourself and your participants, and just keep going. Plant a seed and let it grow. If that seed isn't growing, find another seed and just keep going along. And but again, look at who your target audience is. So for example, I did a race down in Cape Town this last weekend, and I had 25 runners. So it's tiny. Very small race, made a huge loss on this race, but I drove down on Thursday, had the race, and it was such a cool experience with everybody. In the back of my mind, I kept thinking, gosh, I need to make up this money else somewhere. But when you see everybody cross the line and they have this joy and they are satisfied of the race, they really push themselves, and you see that experience from them, it's worth it, and then you're like, next time it will be bigger, next time will be bigger after that. And so be, the word is like, well, my tips is be strong, be resilient, but make sure you focus on who you're doing this for. You don't just create an event, take money, but create the experience for people and actually enjoy it. And then your love for that thing will come through to you, and do something that you're passionate about. It might not make you millions, but at least you'll be happy and you'll enjoy it and you'll love what you do.
Sure. That's such a lovely way to get to where we are right now. Tell me about Wanadoo for the next 6 months. What's coming? Where can we find out more? And what should we be excited for?
So there's always something coming up. The thing that also with events is you're always planning 3 months ahead. So I do find it's difficult to actually live in the moment. And whenever you do something, you're always thinking of what's coming up later. So in the next couple of months, we have a road run at the Cradle. That's going to be on Sunday. And then
that's the Cradle Cracker.
Cradle Cracker, yep.
If you haven't done the Cradle Cracker, guys, really easy event to do, lovely distances and well managed. Go and do that.
Yeah, and you get a free massage if you want, or free coffee or free beer. There's prizes, there's loads happening. So again, we always try and make events fun afterwards. And so there's a Cradle Cracker, then we have a mountain bike challenge, 24-12, so you can ride 24 hours, 12 hours, even a 3 and a 6 kilometer. So whoever does the most laps wins. Further on, we have a simple race, just a night golf course run, which is quite fun. And then we go into the Backyard Ultra and Cinderella Run later on the year, the campus run, Nice Extreme in November, which I always look forward to the Nice Extreme. C2 Tower later, yes.
C2 Tower, what date is C2 Tower this year? Any of you Plett people going out there? When is C2 Tower?
I think that's the 18th or 19th, somewhere around
December,
there. So yeah,
that's
so that
brilliant.
was really cool. And we also did the Red to Head last year, which was quite fun. That's a swim. So it's a 10-kilometer swim, or a 7.5K swim, or a 5K swim. You could choose. However, there's a big however. We use the outgoing current. So we wait for the current to turn, and we give it about 2 hours, and you hop in the water. And this current pulls you. The guys are swimming at about 14 Ks an hour, in the current. And so you could just lie on your back and float.
Wow, that
so
is
always trying to do things.
That is such a good experience. Wow, I won't be doing that. That's and where can we read about it, Sean? Where can people contact you?
So it's all on Facebook page. We try to keep that up as update as much as possible. So Wanadoo events on Facebook. Excellent. Or just the website is just wanadoo.co.za. So what do you want to do today? So all the information's there, and it's it's quite easy to see. And if anybody needs any more information, email me. It's something else I do is I try to get back to people pretty much straight away. So if anybody has a question, I try to get in touch with them.
And it's info@wannadoevents.co.za.
Yeah, info@wannadoe. Yeah.
Is it info@wannadoe?
Yes, info@wannadoe.co.za.
Excellent.
Or Sean@wannadoe.co.za. It comes to the same, comes to me.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Sean. Thanks for being inspiring and keeping us out and getting us out from the mundane into something new. And thanks for your tips on keeping a business going. I think the mic drop moment for today, find your limit and let someone else push you past it. I'm certainly going to try that. We've got a couple of people, I think, who have already taken that up from you and tend to push me way past where I should be going. So, Sean, how do you keep up to speed? Where do you learn? What podcasts? Are you a podcast? Are you a book person, or are you a website person?
So I'm more of a book person. I enjoy reading my books. Got my little Kindle. The thing is, those pop-up books, can't read on my Kindle anymore. So I'm bleak about those pop-up books. But what I do listen to a few radio shows. So one thing is, the Money Show with Dave Woodfield, I think it is.
Yes.
Bruce Woodfield, sorry,
Bruce.
702.
Just very, back very from good. Davos.
Yes, yeah, very, very good source of information. It's quite nice to hear him talk about things. He's very open to different conversations as well and different points of views. And on the podcast side, there's actually 3 that I can recommend. So one is called Entrepreneur on Fire. This is a chap who does daily posts about different people running businesses and shows their success. So it's quite a nice thing that he looks at that. So it's not just the top guys, because you watch shows and they show these chaps who have made millions and millions and millions. Not everybody is going to get there, but it's quite nice to see the normal people actually do things. So you can see.
Oh wow, I'm going to look that up. That sounds fantastic.
Okay. So that's the one. The other one is called Superhuman Academy. It's about better learning and tapping into your potential to achieve superhuman results. So a simple thing, if you're tired, just look up, and look up for a couple of seconds, make sure your eyeballs go up and also you stretch your neck back, and then you kind of wake up, because if you're looking down the whole time at your desk, your body starts relaxing, your eyes start drooping, so you become tired. So if you want to wake up at your desk, just look up. And so those are little tips about that. And then Tony Robbins, he's a life coach, and he basically tries to help people live an extraordinary life. So those are the 3.
I love that. I love Tony Robbins. Gee, I must get onto that. But the Superhuman Academy and Entrepreneur on Fire sound great.
Yes.
And then any book, what are you reading at the moment?
What am I reading? Gee whiz. I can never remember the name. I can tell you what it's about. It's a murder crime scene, but I can never remember what it's about. So this is just a fun story. Just you take my mind off things. And
nice.
After working on events and everything, or even planning the whole day, I get to 2 pages and I fall asleep with my Kindle on my face, and then that's it. So
brilliant. Thanks, Sean. Thank you. We'll add those in. I hope you have a lucky day.
You too. Thanks, Daniel. See you soon.
Bye.
Cheers, mate.